It's been quite the offseason for Fred McNair. He was the Alcorn State head coach. Then we thought he was going to be the Texas Southern head coach. And now he's with the Southern Jaguars as a tight ends coach. And he's very happy with how everything played out. Let's talk to Fred McNair himself about his journey from the end of last year to now. Oh, yeah, it's Locked On HBCU. Play my music.
You are Locked On HBCU, your daily podcast covering HBCU sports. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, family? Welcome back to another episode of the Locked On HBCU podcast, your number one daily one-stop shop for everything HBCU athletics, Monday through Friday, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And I, of course, am Darian Gray, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South, Texas Southern alum and former TSU Herald Sports editor and current contributing writer at USA Today's Saints Wire. Thank you for going on this journey with me. Make it Locked On HBCU your first listen of the day every day. And remember, just because the mic cuts off does not mean that the journey is over. Just means it's time to follow me on Twitter at South Exclusives. Starts with an S and ends with an S. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel, and sports may not be sporting the way that you want them to, but FanDuel is giving every customer, new and existing, a daily booster bonus all summer long. That's every single person, every day, all summer long. Go to FanDuel.com to get started and make every moment more. All right, we're here with another live show. Every single Friday, we're going to do this. From today until the Celebration Bowl, every single Friday, we will have a live premiere at this evening time slot. Today, we have Fred McNair to discuss his journey from Alcorn to Southern and then also reflect on some of the good times at Alcorn. He breaks down why he decided to leave the Braves, his alma mater, everything that went on from his perspective with the Texas Southern fiasco. But most importantly, what stood out to me is how at peace he is and how much he discussed Southern as his happy place. So without further ado, let's talk to the man himself, Fred Air McNair. Okay, Coach McNair, there's going to be something a little different about this year than the previous years for you. You're transitioning into being a position coach after nearly a decade of being a head coach, right? What is that transition like for you mentally?
It's an easy transition for me mentally. I mean, it's not so much where a lot of pressures up on you, other than being a head coach and things of that nature. As a head coach, you kind of familiar yourself with the position coaches anyway, and things that they're being taught as a position coach. So I'm familiar with everything that's been taught as a position coach. Just a transition from a head coach and to a position coach really doesn't change anything for me in terms of that. But just being a position coach, I mean, just I wouldn't say less pressure, but there's a whole lot of things that I'm not doing right now that I was doing when I was a head coach.
Right. So you now have the ability to hone in and say, okay, I'm just focusing on this position as opposed to I have to focus on this position and that side of the ball and this position and that side of the ball. So I can see how naturally it would feel like there's a little bit less on your plate. Right. And there is a reason, unfortunately, that the head coaching is not going on. And that is this offseason. It appeared as if you were going to be the new Texas Southern head coach. And then that deal fell out. From your point of view and from what you know, what was the turning point that led to the contract not being agreed upon?
I really don't know, and I don't think that we ever had a contract situation in terms of that being a Texas Southern, but we just talked about it. Me and Dr. Granger, we had a conversation about it. But other than the contract wise, I haven't signed any contract upon that. But I don't do well on the past. I'm living for the future now, and so um, that's out the window. And I'm here at Southern now. I'm focusing on what we have to do here to win ball games here at Southern now. So I think under the leadership of Coach Graves, he's doing a tremendous job of bringing in coaches that fits the mold of his program. Try to get some wins here at Southern. Try to be a champion here at Southern. So that's my main focus right now.
And we will get to the Jaguars 100% because I do think it's important to view what is going on in the present, in the current. But I did want to ask, right, because as a Texas Southern alum, I would be lying to you if I told you I wasn't personally curious about this situation. And we only know what we see from the outside looking in. And there was multiple meetings about the potential of you being the Texas Southern head coach. Um, Without divulging more than you want to, I just want to know what was communicated to you as they went through different meetings along the way.
That was time I think that they brought me up one time for an interview, and went through the interview process there, and hoping that I have a job at Texas Southern, but it's come back around and said they was going to revisit the process, and I think somebody in the on the committee that want to go a different direction. So and that's what was told to me. So understanding that as a coach and as a business person, those things happen. So um,
Mhm.
just took it with a grain of salt and moved on.
It sounds like, I don't know if maybe this is because it's months in advance or months afterwards, but it sounds like this was a relatively smooth process for you. And I can tell you from the point of view of the outside looking in, this was not a smooth process. It felt very herky jerky, right? It felt like McNair is going to be the coach. Maybe not. McNair is going to be the coach. Maybe not. But for you, it feels like you've really taken this in stride, and it's not as impactful as it is maybe months ago, or if at all.
I understand the business process of everything. As a head coach and as a position coach, things happen, and
Mhm.
you got nothing to cry about. Just got to roll your sleeves up and try to find other employment. And thank God for thank God that Southern reached out to me, and Coach Grave and Coach Mark Frederick reached out to me one day and asked me about this job here. So I was heads over here when they called me. So I was very excited about taking this job.
And let's look back at your former employer, right? Because you were at Alcorn. What went into the decision to say, I'm going to transition from a place where I've been very comfortable, went to school here, have family roots here, been the coach here for nearly a decade. What went into the decision to say, I'm going to look elsewhere?
The biggest thing is sometimes that when you're at a place so long and the place that you love and you're two-time graduate of university, um, it gave you the opportunity to get my BS and my master's.
Hmm.
You tend to love the place that you graduated from, your alma mater. But at the same time, you think that your alma mater have to love you too.
Hmm.
And things that you've done and in the past and the winning traditions that we've had and the championship that we brought in as a coaching staff. But I think some of the things that I really expected to happen didn't happen. And just coming from the leadership and things that wasn't done right. But I thought that at that time it was a great time for me to say, cut my ties with it, and just sometimes you lose a lot of sleep at night of some of the things that you can't control. And
Hmm.
when that stuff started happening, and you're not really happy anymore, it's time to move on and find your happy place. Um, you know, the biggest thing for me that it was bittersweet, but I have to do something for myself to kind of make myself happy and unstressful and at a place now where I can sit back and kind of enjoy myself and be on a position coach and hopefully one day the opportunity will come again to be a head coach somewhere.
And one thing that's probably my biggest takeaway from all of this, before we do get into your happy place, which is Southern, right down there in Baton Rouge, is you seem to be very peaceful and I should say at peace, not just being peaceful, but you seem to be at peace with all of the things that have transpired. And these are big time events, right? Leaving your alma mater, the contract situation with Texas Southern, and now landing at a new school. How were you able to find this peace? Was it landing at Southern? Was it the time that it's been since everything has transpired? Because we're looking back at the end of 2023 and we're halfway through the new year. So just how did you find yourself to be at peace with all of the decisions that were really big time for your life?
just thinking about when throughout the whole process, just praying about it, man, and then just keeping faith, and you when you walk out on faith, something's always there for you, and I think I put a lot of trust in the Lord, and for giving me an opportunity to find new employment. So that's one thing that really kept me going. The family and everybody that was talking to me, the from a positive aspect of it. People were wondering why was I leaving? And,
Mhm.
just get a chance to tell my story one day, and get them to understand this was why. When you do things right, when you do right by people, good things happen. So, and I think that at this point in time, I was doing the right thing by people, and this is what happens is when you do things right, you always find employment. So, I'm gonna continue to do things right. And I'm a laid back guy. I don't, um, I don't fuss and gripe about too much. But I love the staff I have. Um, the thing is that you want to take care of the players as well. I thought I did a great job of doing that while I was employed at Alcorn. I took care of the staff and made sure they got what they need to be successful and make sure the kid was successful. I always thought about the players first. And not only that, I always thought about the department. When I spoke about things, I spoke about the department, not only just football. I really was transparent with the other sports in terms of things that what they can do, and how to get it done. Um, but overall, I'm happy now, and I hope an opportunity to come again. Me and Coach Grave has talked many a times, and even today on the field, we got ready to play Southern. Um, when I walked in my midfield, I embraced him, I hugged him, I said, "Coach, your day is coming, and it's coming soon." And Lord forbid, here it is. Now he's the head coach of Southern University.
Right. Right. Now, and I want to get to it because on multiple times you said your happy place. And to me, that means with the Southern Jaguars. To me, that means with Coach Graves. So I want to take that time to speak about what had happened in the offseason. Now take the time upcoming to look at the happy place in the 2024 season as we continue with Locked On HBCU. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel, and FanDuel is the official sports book of the Locked On Podcast Network. Now, I understand that sports may not be sporting the way that you want them to, even though I can say this. I was very happy watching some preseason football last night. My boy Mikey Victor from Alabama State, I thought he got an interception, but they called it was, incomplete, but that's neither here nor there. With some preseason, you can still make some money. It may not be the stars of the show, but you can still make some money on preseason football. But if you're waiting for the regular season to start, don't even do that. Put some money down on week 1 right now. You don't have to wait until it's Monday before the game start. Put money down right now. You can do it with week 0 of college football, week 1 of college football. You go MLB, WNBA. Everything is on the table. Do not wait. Take advantage of the daily boost and bonus that FanDuel is giving all customers, new and existing, all summer long. Take advantage right now. Do not wait. Do not say we'll get to it one day because you're missing multiple days of daily boost and bonus. Go to fanduel.com. That is fanduel.com to make every moment more and get started today. As we continue rolling on today's episode of Locked On HBCU, I appreciate you for making this your first listen of the day. Every day for your second listen, make sure you're checking out Locked On College Football. You want to make sure that you're checking them out because this is everything that you need to know from the Locked On Podcast Network about the upcoming collegiate football season. And I have Fred McNair with me, former Alcorn head coach and now Southern tight ends coach. I appreciate you sincerely because I know this took a lot, right? People don't get to see everything that happened before we get the microphone on. They don't get to see all of that. They don't get to see all of that. But we know what it took in the pre-production to get here. So I genuinely appreciate you. And I want to now focus on this happy place that is Southern. I love the peace that you have. I love the calm that you have in the situation. And I was listening to an interview from Coach Graves, and he was talking about how you told him, hey, I don't know what's going on, but don't forget about me. What made you reach out to Coach Graves before you knew you were going to be going this direction to tell him, don't forget about me? Because y'all probably had that relationship, but you say, hey, man, you never know.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. I got the phone call. Coach Mark Frederick called me at first, and he's talked to me for a little while, and he said Coach Graves was gonna call me and talk to him about it. I was at home. Like I said, I was at peace, and when I got the phone call from those guys, and I was delighted, man, and smile on my face came, and I always admired this football program Southern had for a long time, even when I played against Southern in college, and I always thought that they always had a great tradition here, man. Fan base, the support, everything that's been going on here at Southern, and then as a coach, when I was coaching against them, I always wonder how do they get all those big recruits, man, and those big linemen and those big guys, the skill guys. And I always admired the program that they had here at Southern. And now that when I got the phone call and I said, man, I'm going to Southern. That's a team I always admired, and I always thought great things about, even when I played them and I coached against them. So, now I'm here and with Coach Graves and Coach Frederick, offensive coordinator. These guys have showed me bung of respect, man. Just give me the opportunity to come here and find happiness here. And a lot of people ask me how I'm doing. I said, I'm good, man. I'm doing fine. A lot of people ask me how Southern treated me. Southern treated me great. You know, um, the fans. Fans were fans. When we played against Southern, when I was at Alcorn, they rooted against me. And right now they all for me. So I'm here at
Right.
Southern. So I was on the elevator a minute ago and coming up to a meeting, and one of the guys asked me, he said, "Coach, we're glad you're here, man. So I'm happy to be here at Southern, man. So you guys gave me an opportunity to land a coaching position here, and I'm gonna do my best that I can do to coach these tight ends up and get them prepared for a game, along with this coaching staff and with the leadership of Coach Terrence Graves."
And you talked about how much you admired Southern, right? So I would assume that on a potential job list, they were probably high on there. Was there ever a point where you thought about leaving the SWAC? Because I look at Alcorn, coach there, Texas Southern, thought about coaching there. Southern, you're now here. All three of these schools are SWAC. We know that your background is in the SWAC. Was it important for you to remain in the conference when looking at different opportunities in the coaching world?
No, I looked at opportunities I had, and I did some interviews um, outside the conference.
Mhm.
At the time, I think that the time I did interviews, I think they had already had a position themselves to hire another guy at that time. But I had interviews outside the conference. I think I did pretty good on the interviews.
Mhm.
Just to say the most, and being able to just to carousel myself around to from the coaching standpoint to where I can land other jobs outside the conference. But you know, the SWAC has been great to me. Um,
Indeed.
since I've been here, man. Even playing and as a head coach and as a position coach, it's been tremendous, man. And I think that Dr. McClellan is doing a great job of doing the things that he need to get done to improve this conference. And he's done a phenomenal job. So right now I'm here in the conference, so this is where I'm at.
You spoke about the interviewing process, right? And it's clear that you still have desires to be a head coach. Is this something that you're looking for in the immediate? Is this something that you're concerning yourself with? Or is this just a it happens if it happens type of situation for you?
I had a conversation with Coach Grave about things, and I told him, that I will be still looking for seeking the head coach position. Um, just as soon as something come up, I will inform him that I will be looking for all the opportunities, which we had talked about it
Mhm.
already. He knows that I still want to become a head football coach, so we got that understood. But right now, pretty much focused on what we have here at Southern, coaching the tight ends up, and if something happened to pop open, I, I will let him know that I'm pursuing other things.
Was there ever a time when you thought about just sitting out a year and then just going back to the well next year for the head coaching? Because it does sound like your mind is set on being a head coach again.
Yeah, it is. I always want to try and be a head coach, and I think every position coach want to be a head coach. So,
Fair enough.
I'm not no stranger to the position, um, with the knowledge that I have of being a head coach. So, I know I had that winning pedigree, but I always want to be a head coach, and that's something I always have in my mind and still want to be. So, in the old terms, and like I said, coaching here at Southern is going to be something new to me, something good for me. Keep
Mhm.
me oiled up and tuned up as a coach. Not really want to sit out a year. I did want to, but if I had to, I would have.
Right.
Um, but be glad to have the opportunity to be here at Southern to coach the tight ends here. So Coach Grave gave me the opportunity to do that. So
And I think that you have a really interesting thing. I want to talk about this one day on my show. I'm not sure when I will, but I think that having you in the room as a tight ends coach, not even being a quarterbacks coach, that could really grow the passing game of Southern, right? Because we know what your history is with quarterbacks, and now you get to work with a pass catcher. How excited are you for the opportunity to shift from uh um I kind of look at you kind of as the quarterback guru of sense when you were at Alcorn. How does it feel shifting over to the tight ends?
it's not bad at all. Now, I'm really enjoying it. And I told the four guys I got in my room. I'm excited about the situation. And I think I got four guys that's very capable of catching a lot of balls this year, and that's what I told them. Becoming all conference players, and that's what we embedded in them. To be those guys that when they step on the field, it looks apart. And in the past, Southern always had great tight ends to play that position. So um, it's not unfamiliar territory for Southern, and they have guys that I have in my room now that's pretty good. And just to grow those guys and see those guys come up and be excited about playing in games and old personnel package that we have, you know, I'm excited about it. Good teaching. The guys are very respectful. As a coach, you give respect, you get it. So these guys are
Mhm.
good, and we talk a lot, and just communication wise is the part that really they understand. We have to be able to communicate.
Now I want to push more back to reflecting not as far as Texas Southern and Alcorn. Well, kind of Alcorn because you went to school there. But I just want to reflect on your football journey and what it's been for you since you started playing the game as we continue with Locked On HBCU. Today's episode of Locked On HBCU is brought to you by Gametime. And Gametime is the best place for tickets. Not sporting events, not theater, not concerts, not comedy shows, but tickets to all of them. It doesn't matter. We're not selective. Gametime has the best deals for everything. You have zone deals where you can just pick a zone in the stadium or wherever you are, and they'll pick the right seat for you at the best price. It's so much easier than all of these other places. I'm telling you right now, download the Game Time app. Create an account, use the code Locked On College. You get $20 off your first purchase, and you'll never stop using Game Time after that. I just use Game Time. About to go to the Universal Circus, and I had to go ahead and get me some tickets. Get one for me and the lady. We went to Game Time so I could get the best deals. I didn't want to go to fill in the blank or fill in the blank because we don't do free promotion, but I did want to make sure I got the best deal, and I looked everywhere else. Game Time is the place to be. You can take it from a personal user. Go to Game Time, download the app, create an account, and use the code Locked On College to get $20 off your first purchase. As we're wrapping up today's episode of Locked On HBCU, I appreciate you for making this your first listen of the day every day, making it all the way to segment 3. And I thank you 2 times for that. Thank you. Thank you. We have Southern Jaguars tight ends coach Fred McNair here with me. And you've gone through different walks of life. You've been a player, you've been a coach. What do you feel like has been your biggest challenge in the game of football, regardless of when it was, didn't have to be right now, but what has been your biggest challenge and how have you overcome it in this game of football?
I guess the journey that it took for me to get here. That's where I started at. That was back in 1984 when Alcorn played Mississippi Valley at Veteran Memorial Stadium in Jackson. I always had my friend guys that were with me to go to games, and I always wanted to be a football coach, and I respected Marino Castle, the late Marino Castle, when he was coaching the game at Alcorn, and I think that's who I wanted to be. Growing up, I wanted to be a Marino Castle coach. And Alcorn gave me an opportunity, in 2012 to come back and coach at my alma mater, to coach the quarterback position. And in 2016, gave me an opportunity to become a head football coach there, and I embraced it. I loved it. Being at my alma mater, a place that I've watched the team play um, and everything. So I always wanted to be a head football coach, and that's in my pedigree, and that's what I believe that I'm still capable of being. So just a long journey, I think that I can reflect back that took me. Even I interviewed 3 times at Alcorn for the head coaching position. Denied twice, and I actually denied all 3 of them up until Dr. Rankin really when the previous coach decided to leave and go other places, and I was named interim coach, and Dr. Rankin, he's the IHL commissioner right now in the state of Mississippi. It gave me an opportunity to become a head football coach as the president of Alcorn. So, um, and I spent several years as a head coach up until 23, and I kind of felt the things that wasn't getting done um, for our programs that need to get done. So I knew right then that it was time for me to part ways and do something different. And that's what I did. And like I said, walked out on faith, and the Texas Southern came open, and had a talk with Dr. Grange about that job and the president, Dr. Sias. And now, and that fell through, and Southern gave me an opportunity to come here, and I'm happy over heels right now, man, and having a great time, and with Coach Grave and his offensive staff, and even the defensive staff, man. These some great coaches there, man. He got a bona fide coaching staff, man. It's gonna do great things. So I'm excited about that.
Let me ask you this, because I don't know how often that you think about legacy, but you've been an Alcorn player, you've been an Alcorn coach. Let's not even just you've been a player, right? You played outside of just your alma mater, played professionally, had a solid career in the AFL, had a couple records, right? Like solid, don't even feel like I'm doing you enough justice. If you had to be the judge, do you feel like you have been a better coach or you've been a better player?
I don't know. I think I've been a better coach because the things I love to do to mentor these young men that we have in this world today, and try to bring them up the right way, give them opportunities, give them roads to travel. Um, that's going to be tough for them. Try to make it easy for them. Try to get them to understand. But I think as a coach, just being able to mentor these young men in the walks of life, I think that goes a long way with me because I have a son, and I want the coach to feel the same way about them too. And so that's one of my biggest things.
Are you about to have to get out of here, coach?
I
Here's
don't
somebody
know what
saying
they
your
got.
name to the side.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll get you a couple of questions, wrap up. I want to ask you about week 3, 2019. Noah Johnson goes down with an injury. You have to replace him with Felix Harper, right? What are the expectations? We know what happened. Felix Harper went out of this world and won a SWAC Player of the Year right after Noah Johnson won a SWAC Player of the Year. You guys win the SWAC again. But when Johnson goes down with injury, what is the thought process? What is the expectations in the room? Because I have to imagine that felt like a huge blow when it happened.
The biggest thing is wasn't the air didn't go out the balloon.
Mm,
The air did not go out the balloon because I always been a quarterback coach that always wants the number 2 guy to be better than number 1. So I always focus on number 2 quarterback more than I focus on number 1, because number 1 go down, number 2 have to be ready.
right.
So the air didn't go out the balloon. So I think Felix was ready to play, and it showed when he got in and played. So I'm always focused on that number 2 guy.
That's an interesting strategy because most times when your star quarterback guy just won the SWAC Offensive Player of the Year, when he goes down, you aren't supposed to replace him with the SWAC Offensive Player of the Year. You are aware of this, right, Coach? That's not supposed to happen.
Yeah, I'm aware of all that. That's why I'm a different kind of guy that coaches the position of the quarterback. Number 1's supposed to be right,
Right,
but that number
right.
2 guy have to be. He have to be ready, and so I'm always focused on that number 2 guy all the time. I tell these coaches that too. It's that number two guy that we need to be ready because number one gonna go down at some point, just one play away.
And I'll ask you this because I did hear people saying your name to the side, and I appreciate you. What do you want? How do you want to be remembered when it's all said and done? Whether that's a player, as a man, as a coach, in the community, in the school, whatever. How do you want Fred McNair to be remembered when it's all said and done?
Personally, as an individual leader, I think I've been that way since I've come out of high school as a player, coached high school before, and as a mentor to the young men that we're raising today. In terms of football, but I want to be known as a great mentor and a leader of all phases of it.
And you know what? I forgot. I had one more question on my list that I can't walk out without asking. All right. You have said you are the original Air McNair. You and your brother share the name. I have to know what is the genesis of this nickname, and also were you Air McNair before you became a quarterback? Because I know that's not where you started your collegiate career.
No, I was Air McNair probably my junior year in college when Terrence Small, C.C. Tillman, Fernando Evans, at a practice one day, they gave me that name. I was throwing the ball so well in a 2 minute drill, um, and I was just cutting it loose, and they just started calling me Air. Then they put on McNair to it, so it stuck with me. It stuck with me. So that's one of the things that we really embraced, and I think the legacy went on when Steve came out of even when he was in high school, they was calling him Air Two. Air Two is divine. So so that's one of the things that stuck with him. So it's been that way for a while, and they still call me Air. So um, for a long, long time ago.
Nah, I appreciate you because I had to know the genesis of that, especially knowing the position change. I wanted to know, was it just, hey, Air rhymes with McNair? Some people stumble on cool nicknames, but no, that was a great backstory on how it came to be and the legacy of it. Coach Fred McNair, I genuinely appreciate you sitting down with me, talking about everything that happened this off season, the things that have happened in the past at Alcorn, and then also the future that you're looking forward to at with the Southern Jaguars. Good luck on the season every week that you don't face TSU, because I wish you would have coached, but I still got to rock with my alma mater pride.
There you go, man.
but good luck on every other game out of this season. Nah, but in all seriousness, thank you for coming on. Thank you everybody for checking this out and making this your first listen of the day every day. We'll be back next week. As you know, I always record these interviews ahead of time. So no, I don't know what we'll be talking about on Monday, but it'll probably be something along the lines. I don't know. I can't even predict, guys. It's Monday right now. So until the next time that we hear each other, family, whatever we do talk about, take care. Stay blessed. Peace.
All right, go Jags.